So how you guys been doing? You been enjoying the show here in Sacramento?
Yeah, it's been really good. It's been like one of the funnest cons I've done in a long time. I've been kind of bouncing around the country, like doing different cons, and SacAnime is like not to just be like a kiss butt, but it's it's been one of the best cons I've done in a while. The last one I did was like super low key, so I'm like, this is really like big and fun, and it's like almost Comic-Con like the way it's set up, and I really dig it.
So like low key, they like shove you in a room with like 5 or 6. That was it. Kind of here's 5, 6 people for your panel.
Yeah, I think I signed like 2 things maybe last time, and I was like, all right, cool. It's in a warehouse. I love it.
So this has been a little better for you, better experience.
Yeah,
then.
no, it's been super fun, and like all the handlers, all the staff, everyone's just been like so just like attentive. And also some of the just most like passionate and loving people. Good.
I'm glad to hear that. I mean, we do our best to put the show on, and I'm glad you guys are having a good time.
Yeah. No, it's great to be here.
Yeah, this is my first anime con. Most of my stuff is based on Power Rangers, VR Troopers. That was my first show was VR Troopers, and did the voice for the Gold Ranger on Zeo. So kind of got in the franchise there. So I get to tag along with the Power Rangers as they do, their stuff. So was it Power Morphicon? We do every year.
I was at Power Morphicon in 2018. I was running the merchandise booth, so I really didn't get a chance to go out to the floor and say hi to everybody.
Yeah. So this is different. I mean, anime is different, but the crowd. What I found with the crowd is they're just all the fans are just so nice. Just overly nice. I mean, they come up and they know exactly what they want. There's no real question. It's like, hi, can you sign this? And will you do that to Dave and this? And I'm like, everybody's got it all mapped out. I'm like, you're so organized. It's so much easier.
Right on. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Again, I'm glad you guys were here. I'm so happy that we were able to have you guys, especially for Goblin Slayer.
Yeah.
All of a sudden becoming as pretty big as it was. I mean, that was kind of a for kind of that dark medium. I mean, it was a really big hit.
Yeah, I had no idea it was just going to explode the way it did, but I'm happy it did, because it's unlike, that show is so special to me. It was like one of my first major roles at Funimation after moving from Canada down to Texas, and I was still trying to find my footing as an actor there, and just it's I don't know. All right, I got an audition for this show called Goblin Slayer. I watched the first episode when it dropped, and before the audition I was like, this is awesome.
And then she was traumatized and came back a few weeks later.
Oh, getting traumatized was just so good. But getting to play Priestess is just special to me. I'm like, anytime someone brings me a really pretty print, I was like, oh, that's my baby girl. I love her. Goblin Slayer, he's fine. I keep threatening to put a mustache on him after you sign something. I was like, I'm just going to sign over Brad's, put a mustache on him.
Yeah, I didn't even know that I got the role. I didn't even know.
Nope,
I
me neither.
went in and read for the series, and the way it usually works is you read multiple characters, and they don't know what they want either, so they're trying to match the voice with the character, and you get a picture and a little breakdown, and then they give you a couple of scenes to do, and went in there and did a couple of runs and walked out. I mean, I felt pretty good. I felt better about other auditions. I didn't walk out going, wow, I'm the guy, because I was like, they probably got a ton of guys that are looking for that spot. And then they called and booked, and they were like, yeah, they need you for 3 or 4 hours. I was like, wow, that's pretty long for one show. I'm like, what am I doing? And they're like, no, you're the guy. You're Goblin Slayer. I was like, it'd be nice if you told me. I was like, I was pretty damn excited. It was like a victory of one. I was just like,
yes. Go me?
Nobody. Yeah. And then the other people at Funimation, you'd go through the hallways and you're running into other producers and directors and voice actors, and we're kind of just, going from studio to studio. And a lot of other actors and other producers are like, congratulations, man. Great job.
Nice.
Way to go. That's a good one. That one's a good one for you. And I'm like, so I started kind of feeding off of everybody else, going, wow, this is the show is known. All the other voice actors were like, congratulations. The other producers were like, hey, man, you're gonna enjoy that show. That one's a good one.
Nice.
I was like, cool. So I kind of absorbed how cool it was going to be.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah, the energy around the show, even just working on it, it was so much fun. We got our director Tabitha is just so nice and so genuine. She just loved the show so much. All of our engineers who worked on the show, did like all the audio, like amazing, kind people. And I wasn't prepared for like how dark it was going to go. I was like, all right, I'm in it though, let's go. I'll hit a goblin with, just swing at it with my staff, you know, jingle the little rings and call it call it a day. It's a morning.
Tabitha beat me up about my accent, like basically my southern draw. Yeah,
I never notice it.
I get in there and she'd give me line reads, just like, it's there. I'm like, there. She goes, there, there, there. I'm like, I'm saying exactly what you're telling me to say. She goes, no, yours sounds country. You gotta de-country it a little bit. I'm like, there. We do these line reads. I'm like, I'm saying the word. I know I'm saying it.
I don't know.
I don't know what you're hearing.
I apparently got too Canadian sometimes.
Really?
Just like the way I'd pronounce certain words, like bin and bean. There's two E's.
Yeah.
It should be bean.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, Hayden, it's bin. I was like, but... Okay. And then another one, I don't know if it's common down here, often. Do you guys say often?
I say often.
Okay.
Yeah, she goes often. I'm like, often.
See...
Often. I go, you know how weird that sounds? Often.
Yeah.
Like, often sounds...
It happens often.
No, often is how I always pronounced it. And she's like, no, Hayden, it's often. I was like,
often.
What?
No, there's a T in there.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Let me pronounce the... Okay.
Yeah. Enough about our struggles.
Our life is so hard.
They trap us in a 3 foot by 3 foot box with a microphone and 2 TVs. So that's our struggle.
We yell into padded rooms.
It's running through. I have some friends that are Canadian, some people that I work with, and my coworker Ryan likes to make fun of the Newfoundland accent.
Oh my God, the Newfie accent is hilarious.
Newfies. Yeah, you bet. You know, yeah, bye.
Oh yeah, it's very like nar.
You
go to your car, get in the snow.
Can imagine that coming out of Priestess. Yeah.
Oh, you get in your car, you drive through the snow. It's really, it's really hard with the ice, and sometimes you hit a moose, or actually the moose will probably hit you.
The dangers of Canada: drowning in maple syrup and getting hit by a moose.
Moose are aggressive, man. Like, they will hit you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hit the Tim Hortons right out of your hand.
Oh, I remember that. The first time I got to go to Tim Hortons.
Their
Oh, Joe,
coffee's
you got to go to
awful.
Timmy O's and get a cup of coffee.
Oh my God. Get your coffee, eh? No, their coffee is garbage. Don't drink it.
I wasn't impressed. I could have the coffee at the office.
Their donuts are good though. Get Timbits. It's donut holes, but we call them Timbits.
Donuts.
It's very good. Very good.
All right. So is this where we get actively involved and
Yeah,
interactive?
we do have a microphone set up, so if you guys have questions, Marcos is up here at the microphone. So please ask questions. Come on up. Ask them.
Hello. Now the question's been approved. My question is, since Goblin Slayer is a darker anime and has some of those grittier moments, I was wondering what it's like to get into those roles and kind of act those parts out for the things that are happening on the scene, and what you have to do to get prepared for that.
I mean, for me, it was, I was so used to all the other shows we were doing at Funimation, which were lighthearted. I mean, yeah, you've got battle scenes here, and there's demon scenes and all the stuff that I was used to on that level. And Goblin Slayer kind of threw me. It kind of threw me. So, in the audition, I wasn't privy to the storyline, and that was my introduction to the story was just the audition. So once we got in the booth, and episode 1 was pretty right out the gate, just hit the gas set the tone on how this is going to be. And I stopped doing my lines. I was watching it in the cave, and all of a sudden I'm watching it. I just stopped doing the lines, and my eyes got big, and I was just like, oh, we're going there? I'm like, this going to be, she's like, yeah. She goes, this is one of those more intense, dark, a little twisted, and I wasn't used to that. I was really used to what Funimation I've experienced with Funimation. So for me, I had to really kind of lock my head around where this was going to go, and how dark and how deep these storylines are. Not even just like connection between characters, but how deep everybody's underlying, like their origin story of how this came to be and where his hatred came from, And you know, he was traumatized by the situation. You know, multiple people in the storyline, the characters were traumatized by these things. So for me, yeah, I had to really dig in and thanks to Hayden, I mean, she was really deep with the manga and understood a lot more of it, and she was kind of filling me in. She was like my human cliff notes over here of bringing me up to speed on the history of the show. So once I got into it, I was like, wow, this is going to be disturbing. Like, and then I started following it online, and it was really popular, but it was also popular because of the content. Like, it was controversial. So I was like, wow, we're in the driver's seat of a really, you know, deep, dark story, and I was in for it because I love the having some. What am I trying to say? I love having that material that's just real and a little bit more theatrical, you know? Because I mean, if I go on One Piece, I'm like, I can pick any voice I want to do and it's accepted. One Piece, like, we've heard 50,000 different voices. Give me your take on this guy. But with Goblin Slayer, I just had to go to a dark place. Yeah.
Yeah, like getting there emotionally is just kind of, as an actor, you just have to be very open and ready to just go there. Because, like Priestess, especially that first episode, I went home and I took a nap. I fell asleep because it starts like with her, like, essentially the episode opens with her crying. So I'm like, okay, this is how I'm starting. I love starting my day crying my face off. So it was a lot of just like, while we're doing like reactions in anime, we're just like the fight sounds, like the clenched teeth or like the little smiles, everything. All of it was emotional reactions. So I just had to be open and raw and ready. But I love this kind of content. I was raised on like dark fantasy, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. Those were my bedtime stories growing up. I love it. So getting to just go there and play in this like fantasy world and go on this journey with like such like a cool character. Like, she was so innocent and had just this like warm-hearted drive of she just wants to like protect people and help. But through it, she grows so much and matures. Like, she goes from pretty much being, because she's 15, like she's young.
God, don't remind me.
Like, I can clarify something for you that you think is weird in episode 8. I can clarify that for you. But just getting to grow with that character and go through those traumas with her as an actor, it was just rewarding. That show is so rewarding for me, and I think it was just such a fun journey. I would absolutely do it again. I'm like, I said I would return season 2. Yeah. Season 2, please. Yeah, hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was
really
You're awesome.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey. So, I'm just a little bit curious. Goblin Slayer is being highlighted for an upcoming movie, so I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Goblin Slayer movie coming out this year?
And I've been drafting off of you pretty much because I think she's a little more piped in with the who's who up there, the decision makers. So I'm like, Hayden, are we doing a movie? Are we doing season 2? Are we doing a movie? So she's been kind of giving me everything that she hears.
No, it was like, it made my day. Like, you sent me the movie poster. I was like, isn't it cool? It looks so good. And Priestess is right up front. I was like, that's my baby girl. That's my girl. Yeah. Look at you in your winter clothes. But I'm super excited for the movie. I think it was February 2nd, I think it drops in Japan. And I'm like, can we just get like a sub release over here? I just want to watch it real bad. I'm super excited. I have no idea if we're dubbing it, if we're getting a season 2, anything. But I'm excited, and I'm like, I just want to jump back into that world because I keep up with the manga. I haven't been reading the light novels. I'm reading like 4 different novels right now. I can't add another one, but I buy them because they look pretty on my shelves.
But is there a strong chance that season 2 is?
I think with how popular the show was, both over here and in Japan, I think there's a strong chance. There's a show called Demon Slayer, hilariously enough. With what they're doing is they're doing season 1, they're doing a movie, and then they might be doing a season 2.
Okay.
So I think they're doing Goblin Slayer in a similar way. They're doing the movie to like regain the hype for the show, and then they'll do a season 2 just to like piggyback off of that, because there's a lot of in between what happens at the end of season 1 and the movie, so there's a lot that they can cover in there.
I see.
Yeah.
Listen, I need you to sing more.
I see.
Like,
Brad, in this scene, you're going to say, I see 14 times. I'm like, can we just do it once? You just put it in where you need it?
can you just pull it? No, it's got to be different.
But yeah, we're excited. I mean, yeah, if they give us a shot,
Yeah.
I mean, we're wide open.
Please.
We're ready to do it if they give us a shot.
One on my
Yeah.
show, please.
Yeah.
So I know, Hayden, you're super into RPGs, and Brad, you love your fantasy. So what is some of your favorite fantasy movies and novels and such?
Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are like my baseline. I have a Hobbit half sleeve, like I have the map on my arm because I love it. But I'm like, I like Harry Potter, stuff like that. I read The Golden Compass growing up, all that. I just love anything that's kind of based in a fantasy world. I recently got into like reading like comic books again, so it's been fun kind of reading like the old Teen Titans comics from like way back when. Stuff
Yeah,
like
don't
that.
make me feel old, thanks.
Listen, I'm a baby. I'm a child. But yeah, what about you?
I mean, just what, fantasy movies? What, anything? What,
Yeah, any kind of fantasy, like fantasy movies, like old Beastmaster and stuff like that. You know, anything.
yeah, no, man. I knew I wanted to be like an action hero, you know, when it clicked with me was Star Wars. I mean, as soon as I came home from Star
didn't even
Wars,
think about Star Wars.
it was Christmas time, and I took all the wrapping paper, you know, off the little cardboard thing, and that was my lightsaber. And I just went out and beat my neighbor to death with
God.
it.
I did
you
the
know?
same
I was like,
thing.
as soon as Star Wars just set the tone for me, and I was like, I was in the yard flipping around stuff. I was like, I know I want to be some kind of action star. And so when I got VR Troopers, that was the opportunity to I was a live action superhero. It was great. I didn't even have to wear spandex. It was great. I got out. I was able to avoid it.
If they'd asked you to wear the spandex, would you have?
Well, for a check, yeah.
It's like, is it paying rent this
gotta
month?
pay
Yes.
rent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of Star Wars. I didn't like
Yeah.
put that in like a fantasy, but yeah,
No.
it is definitely.
Just-
It's
yeah.
like sci-fi fantasy.
Yep.
It's space wizards.
Well, yeah. And I grew up, I'm a little older than you. Battlestar Galactica, things like that.
I've been
Hey.
recommended that
Yeah.
show so much, and I
Yeah.
keep meaning to check
Star
it out.
Trek. Yeah.
I never
Battlestar
got into
Galactica,
Star
Wars.
Trek.
Yep.
My parents were both super into it, though.
Yeah. My parents.
My parents.
Listen.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello. Do you think the first episode, or the first episode of the second season is going to be as controversial as the first episode of the first season?
I don't think so, because I'll tell you why. They've already given us like the shock value.
You already punched us in the face.
They already punched me in the face with my emotions. I love it. Thanks for making me cry. But we already know like the gravity of the situation, and we already know how dangerous the goblins are, especially because we capped off the season with the farm invasion arc. And so we've gone there, so we know like what these goblins can do. We saw them like bite someone's head off. I'm like, that's awesome. But I don't think it'll be controversial. I think people are just going to be more excited to jump back into that world than anything. I'm curious where they're going to start it off, because they actually swapped 2 arcs from how they are in the manga.
Okay.
The Watertown arc with Sword Maiden.
Yep.
Actually in the manga comes after the farm invasion arc. But for a show purposes and storytelling purposes, I think it worked way better to end it with the attack on the farm, because it gives us like this great ending to the season, just like this great climax.
Yep.
So I think it actually works better, but I don't think season 2 is going to start off as dark, but I'm open to it if it does.
You don't know. Like I could easily start off right in the middle of the
Yeah.
You know, it could easily start off just like, this is what I expected. You know, this is what I expected, highly anticipated, and then all of a sudden it just comes out and you're in the middle of a battle. I'm punching eyeballs out and
started.
She's bringing me back to life because I seem to die every time. It's just like I die every time I fight.
I got you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
My question is, if you were to end up in the Goblin Slayer world and in his party, what class would you be?
Ooh. I'm like, I usually play healers when I play like D&D, but I'm like, I like to be a rogue because I'd like to think that I'm agile. I'm not. Trip on air. But I think I'd like to play rogue or like be like a rogue similar to like high elf archer. Like I'm bad at archery, but I'd like to like to be good. I'm like, if I'm in that world, it's a fantasy world. It can be my fantasy. So I'd say rogue for you. Like
What would mine be?
Ooh, I said we got asked about D&D classes last time. I was like, you'd be a bard. You'd be a bard. Brad the bard.
That's me?
But
Well, my name's Brad. Is that
exactly.
close?
Yes.
Bard? Okay, cool.
I mean, swap.
Brad, Bard, it's an
Yeah,
anagram.
Literally swap 2 letters. I'd say for you, I'd see you honestly more as like the dwarf shaman. Like
Really? You're going to call me a dwarf
Oh
in
my
front
God.
of everybody?
Wow.
Everybody here.
I'm saying that you would have magic, but okay. Wow.
I'm a dwarf.
That's what it should be.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My question is for both.
You were,
Good morning.
everyone's so good.
Sorry about
I
that.
don't need my coffee now.
My question is for both of you. What is the oddest experience you've had while recording for Goblin Slayer?
Say that one more time.
What is the
my heart
oddest
was
experience
pounding.
you both have had while recording for Goblin Slayer?
The best? What was it?
The
The oddest.
Oddest?
Yes.
Well, I was talking into a bucket the whole time. So, like, the whole thing is, I don't know how many people were at the panel a couple days ago, but the trick that we have to pull off the sound of me being in the helmet is a bucket. There's a physical, like, Christmas bucket in the office, and it's this, I don't know what it was. I think they used to put, like, caramel corn or kettle corn or something in it, and it was like a bucket. It has reindeer and Santa. I got a picture on my phone, but it has all these Christmas decorations on this little tin bucket, and literally I have to hold it right here, because it's like as I talk through the bucket, it makes the sound like a tin can, and it sounds like so. I'm like, it doesn't get any weirder than that. I'm just literally. I told them they should put like a horse feeder, like a thing you put around so it just stays here. So wherever I turn, I can just have the bucket, because it's so annoying. I'm sitting here talking into a bucket the whole time.
Oh my God.
But yeah, if you walked in and you saw the session, you'd be like, what is he
That's
doing
so weird.
right now? But that's how we create movie magic.
That's how to make the sound.
Christmas bucket.
Christmas bucket is the bucket of Goblin Slayer. I feel like we should just put like crappy masking tape on it. It's like Goblin's bucket. Oddest experience? I'm like, I don't know if I had any weird ones. Like everything, like the bucket story tops it every time. But I'm like, I think it was, I think my face was super red when we were recording. It was episode 8.
Again, you with the episode.
I have weird encyclopedic knowledge of this show, dude.
See, I'm visual, so I'm like, the episode that we did this. And she's like, oh, that's episode 7. 23 minutes into the episode. I'm like, how do you know these things?
Okay, I don't know the minutes. I know usually around it's like, it's around the middle though. It was episode 8 because it opens with him in bed, like his character in bed with my character. And I was like, okay, clarify.
I was like,
they did not.
Whoa, back up.
They didn't do the do.
What are we shooting here? That's how the episode opens. It's
Yeah.
like both of us in bed, and I'm like, wait, we skipped an episode.
You don't even have your helmet on. But to clarify, they didn't do any. They didn't do the nasty.
Yeah.
But
and then
I'm like,
Sword Maiden comes in. It
was
doesn't make it
like-
any easier. Doesn't make it any easier. I'm like, where is this going? Where is this going?
It could go the anime route, Brad. It could
And
go
then at
the
that point, I'm
anime
like,
route.
you're just pretending to sleep at this point.
I was like, I mean, probably. That girl's crushing. Let's be real.
Yeah.
She got a little crush. She cute.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, that was like, I was like, my face was so red. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I recorded before you too.
Yeah, I think
so.
so.
I was like, this is
Yeah.
gonna be weird. I don't know, Brad.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
weird.
that one caught me off guard. And then having Tabitha explain it to us, what had happened.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I already knew, but she
Well,
explained it anyway.
You died, but you have to lie with a virgin, and then her powers will bring. I'm like, sure.
Yeah. It's like
Sure.
the reason Sword Maiden had to be there, is because Priestess like didn't know like the spell. So it's like, you just lay there, be a little and then I'll cast a spell.
And I'm asking too many questions. I'm like, so we didn't do anything? She's like, Brad, let it go. Nothing happened. All you had to do was lay in the bed with her. I'm like, we didn't sleep together. She's like, Brad, quit asking questions. You laid in the bed with the virgin, you came back to life. It makes sense. Moving on.
But, no, I
Do
think
we
that
have
was,
wine? Do we
wine?
drink?
Nothing? It's like, she is a child. She won't even drink the fire wine. Come on, man. No, but I think that was the oddest, just because I was like, I'm very embarrassed right now, but I'm just going to give that to my character and go with it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Have you guys gotten any souvenirs while you've been out here?
Yes, I got myself a Goblin Slayer t-shirt. Because I was like,
You got
official
one
merch.
too?
Yeah, I got
Nice.
one. And I was like, official merch? Heck yeah, man. Because I have a Priestess shirt that I bought on Amazon. And I'm like, it's real cute. But I was
Yeah.
like, it doesn't have like, it's not official. And I was like, ooh, it's official and has, this is mine. This is my shirt forever.
Yeah.
Probably just wear that to cons. I almost wore it today.
Yeah, it's been cool. We had a couple of the attendees came up and brought us some cool, things for us to keep. So I've got some stuff in my suitcase that they had designed or drew themselves. Some of them are artists, and they gave us their versions of, Goblin Slayer. It was pretty cool. And what's been cool is seeing all the different artwork come by. I've been taking pictures of everybody who brings something to our autograph tables, and I've seen so many pictures that I've never seen before from all the artists, whether they're over there in the exhibit hall or just things that they've been able to print up that they found online. Really cool stuff. So yeah, one of these guys, have you seen that thing on my table? It's like the metal.
Yeah.
And he airbrushed onto the metal, and it's like this reflective, photograph. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I love when artists take our stuff and run with it, and then they bring back to us. I'm just like, man, some of the coolest. They're so creative.
No, I love seeing like all the different art and the different renditions of our characters. Someone brought me a poster of Priestess, but it was her like aged up, and I was like, that's, like she looks so good. Look at my girl all grown up. I was like, she's Sword Maiden's age now. Get it, girl. But I love seeing like we got to sign like a Goblin Slayer helmet.
Yep.
This was like not my first one to sign actually. I signed one at No Mackay Dallas last year, but. Someone brought us like our characters' like weapon props, so I got to sign like the top of like Priestess's
You bought a
staff.
sword. You
Yeah,
saw the sword.
the sword and like the shield looks so cool.
Yeah. I see.
I see.
I see.
Don't take my job.
With the popularity of Goblin Slayer and obviously the people that love it, has there been anything else in your career that kind of had that same impact?
For me, no. I'm still very new, especially down in Texas. Like impact emotionally. I did a show called it was like this really cute like Japanese drama, and it was like my first time like playing like a lead role. I did a lot of live action dubs when I was in Canada, and it was the show called Totone-chan, or what we called it in English. Sounds weird, bear with me. We called it Daddy Sister. So I was basically, yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. I was like, is that the translation work? All right, Japan, you approved it, let's go. But I played the main character, Tsuneko, and I played her throughout her entire life until she was like 60. I was like, I don't sound 60, but okay. And it was about her like starting her own business like right after the Second World War, and how she started like this magazine company. It became like a clothing company, and just her becoming like a businesswoman and growing from like poverty to like learning to be like self-sufficient. Like she almost got married a couple times and didn't, because she's like, I'm focusing on me and my family. And it was just the most like warm-hearted show, and it was just very real. So I think like, while it didn't like impact my career, nobody knows what this show is. I don't even have a DVD of it. But it was like a big moment for me as an actor, getting to just play that and just like go somewhere very real and very and get to play like such a strong young woman, and it was great. But yeah, I think that's probably it.
I'd say the biggest thing for me was Boyhood. I did Boyhood with Richard Linklater. Anybody ever see Boyhood? Anybody? Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate that. Thank you, Case. Appreciate you guys coming out. But no, it was we filmed a movie over 12 years and in real time.
Wow.
So they followed a kid's life from, I think he was 8, it's from 6 to 18 in real time. So we would shoot once a year for 12 years. I didn't shoot all 12 years. I shot the last 4. And I was Patricia Arquette's husband in the movie, so had scenes with Patricia Arquette and Ethan Hawke, which was cool for me. And that was probably the biggest, because that went on to get nominated for 5 Oscars. I think it
Wow.
was. Yeah, and she won the Oscar for leading female. So, but yeah, just to be in that group of people, to go to the SAG Awards, I got to walk the red carpet and do the photo shoot and all that stuff, and sit there, and I'm next to Lenny Kravitz and Robert Duvall and Amy Poehler and Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I'm just like, there's stars here. Like, and they
you're
let
one
me
of
in.
them.
And they let me in this place. So it was cool. So actually, when I could walk up to people and say I was Brad from Boyhood, and Boyhood was like the Cinderella for like 5 years ago, I think it was. And to be nominated for an Oscar and be in a movie of that caliber and shoot for that long, that was it. It was a nice 15 minutes of fame for me.
Right on.
That's so
It
cool.
was. Yeah. Now I'm Goblin Slayer. So.
No. So goodbye, Boyhood.
Yes.
Goblin Slayer now. Hi.
Hello. I'm not sure. I just got here, so I don't know if the question was already asked. But I wanted to
There
know.
are no bad questions.
Is there a scene you most enjoyed voicing in Goblin Slayer?
Except that question.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. One more time. What was it? What was the scene we enjoyed?
Is there a scene you most enjoyed voicing in Goblin Slayer?
There's so many good ones. I really, really liked the final episode. I have 2. It was mostly when our characters get to just like sit down together and just have like a conversation, and like without all the fighting around them, because you get to see like where they are like as friends, and I love it. Episode 12, like when like after the battle, like she like fell asleep and she like wakes up and they're just having like this very real, just warm conversation, and he's like, I'm weird, I'm strange, like no one like would have helped me. It's like I had to ask for help, and that's such a huge moment for him. And I think it's like, remember, people are kind. It was her words to him, and I was like, that's very powerful. It's like, remember that you can reach out to people. But I think I also really enjoyed, I think it was later in it was during Watertown, I think it was episode 8, when they're just like sitting and they had just got the ice cream.
Yeah.
And they're just having like this little moment talking about how it's like, do you think people realize that there's like these hordes of goblins like right under their feet? And I really enjoyed getting to play off of you, because it's like I was scared. He was talking about how he was scared to like even like start walk. He was scared to even walk because he was afraid like the ground would fall through. And I can't remember what the conversation was exactly, but they just start having this little back and forth, and it just shows like that they can kind of mess with each other.
Yeah.
And I like that when they're like leaving, she like puts a little feather in his helmet. And I think I bombed you with this. It's like put a feather in a cap.
There was because it was so serious all the time. All the episodes were so serious and so dark.
Yeah.
And so, my guy's pretty much one note, just monotone the whole time. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she bombs me with them. When I say she bombed me, she went off script and said something that was completely out of character. Obviously, we didn't use that line, but they play it back whenever I'm recording. So I started dying laughing. I was like, all right, I'm going to get her back. And then I think the line was like, we were waiting. There's this big battle about to ensue, and you were supposed to use a spell, and we were waiting, and I was going to let her know when to, when to, not now, like hold, and like now, right? So I think the line was now, and I run up there, I'm like, now!
I was like, what the? I was like, he finally got me back.
Oh no.
So they played that for her whenever she was doing her voiceover.
And I was like, it's such a serious moment. I was like in it. I was ready to go, and I'm like, what the? Okay, Brad, it's war. Let's
If
go.
if they would let us just take it our own route,
Oh my
it'd be a whole
God.
different show.
It was very different. I wish that they still put bloopers on DVDs. They don't because we cuss. But I'm like, I love. Honestly, my favorite is just like anytime it's just like those nice, quiet conversations. But what about you for
Yeah.
favorite moments you got to do with Goblin Slayer?
When I had to ask for help from the other adventurers, I realized that I couldn't do it by myself, and I think that was one of Goblin Slayer's biggest Achilles heels of his character was he does everything by himself. He doesn't even want y'all's help. He doesn't want anybody's help. He's like, this is my burden. This is my, commitment, my obsession. I don't want to burden anybody else with it. But he gets to a point where he realizes that my voice giving out. Attack on Farmtown was going to be bigger than him, and he wasn't going to be able to do it without everybody's help. So I thought that was really endearing. Like he had to lower his guard so that he could get help from others.
Yeah,
Thought
it was
that
a
pretty cool.
sort of like a shedding of the armor, if you will.
Oh, I love the symbolism, the metaphor.
I love metaphors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Of course, as a little side note, at the end of like episode 12, when he takes off his helmet, I like to imagine it's you, Brad, under the helmet.
I do too, right?
It's just like, oh, those features. Yes, I
Right.
agree.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Like, people are like, what do you think he looks like? And I'm like, well, I don't know. From what I've seen, he looks like he's in shape. He looks like a good-looking dude, and
Right,
chicks
right.
are all over him.
I
So,
mean, no.
got her and Sword Maiden throwing themselves at him. I'm like, he's got to be a good-looking dude.
She does not throw herself. She quietly crushes. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you guys so much
Yeah,
for
thank
being
you.
at our show. It's been great having you. Thank you to you guys for coming on in. And unfortunately, that is the time we have this morning. But you guys, you have photo ops and autographs
Yep,
today.
photo ops, got signings at the table. Yes, come join us.
So if you have other
come say
questions, you want to get an autograph, they're going to be at their booth. They'll have the photo op. So thank you again for being in here this morning. And again, thank you again to our
Thank you.
guests. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
Thank you guys for coming out
Yeah,
early.
thank you guys.